Well, hi, this is Bob Odell with Root Source, and we are here today once again with our good friend, Avi Lipkin. How are you doing?
Great to be with you again. Actually, great to have you again in my house
So we're here in your
in
house.
Texas.
Now, hold on. Okay, my first question was going to be, there's a Texas flag behind you,
Yes.
but here we are in Israel, so tell us about that.
Well, there's a very dear lady in my life. Her name is Jody Anderson, and she is the leader of the Battalion of Deborah. And, Aunt Stacy's also with her and a lot of other people. And I've been working with them like 20 years. And one day they came to Israel, a whole bunch of them, and they brought me this Texas flag and they autographed the Texas flag. So it's on my door. It's always right in front of my eyes. And I love Texas. And I'm an Israeli. We're here in Kedar in Israel, about 10 miles east of Jerusalem, southeast, and we can see Mount of Olives. You see the tower of the Mount of Olives
Yes.
in the brief break in the rainstorm. You can see the tower.
So it's a winter day today.
It's a winter day, and but it's beautiful because we need the rain. So I always think of Texas. When I'm in America, actually my base of operations is Dallas. So I'm in Texas a few months out of the year.
And Jody and Ann are up in the Dallas area.
They're my family.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is your office. We're upstairs in your office today, and I saw a picture on the wall that also wasn't of Israel. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I in my travels in Texas, and Texas is not exactly a small state, and so my friend said to me, "Okay, we're going to Glen Rose, and there's a
Which is a town about an hour south of Dallas, I think.
southwest of Dallas, southwest of Fort Worth. Also, it's on a lake. Typical Texas, almost hill country. And there's a very famous painter and sculptor by the name of Bob Summers. So, Avi, you're going to get a special treat today. So they took me to see him, and I saw all his paintings and everything. He says, "You want any of them?" I said, "Sure. I want the Confederate one." And it's a picture of three Confederate generals, or two Confederate generals in an aide-de-camp in the middle of a forest. And I'm not taking sides, north and
North
south.
or south.
I am a Civil War buff, and I respect both sides, and I love both sides. If you don't love both sides, you don't love America.
Yeah.
And I do love America. And I know we're going to do a show on the party, but one of the reasons I'm forming this Judeo-Christian Bible Bloc party is to unite the people of Israel and to make it great like America was made great by God, by Bible, faith in God. So Texas is really, really in my heart. He gave me this picture, and I'm saying to Jody and to the group there, take me again. I want to see if I can get another picture out of this guy. And Bob Summers, also a famous sculptor, he did a sculpture of John Wayne, and it's at the airport in not LAX. I think it's Orange County.
Okay.
And or Long Beach, and there's a big sculpture of John Wayne. And when John Wayne's son saw the sculpture, he said to Bob Summers, "This is the first time I've seen my father since he died."
Wow.
So that Bob
Wow.
Summers is special, yeah.
Wow. Glen Rose actually is famous in Texas for being the place where you can see dinosaur traps.
Okay. Texas.
But that was not a reflection on you, Avi.
Texas. Well, you know what? I want to tell you something. Our Bible goes back to like 4,000 years ago. Abraham was about 4,000 years. I don't want to talk about Adam and Eve, but like now that we're talking about dinosaurs, but we're talking about eternal, timeless
Yes.
things that are so important to all of us and are at the heart of all our thinking and our faith.
And we're talking about mystery. The things that we talk about with Israel and what God is doing, just like those dinosaur tracks and how that all fits. It is still something of a mystery. So, yeah. Well, great. So let's turn to the topic that I think many viewers would like to hear about first. December, was it 6th? Donald Trump announced that the United States would be recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. What's your take?
Well, I would tend to elevate President Trump to the status of the biblical figure Cyrus, the emperor of Persia. And with all due respect to Christians, it says in the Bible that Cyrus is the Messiah. The word Messiah in Hebrew is Mashiach. Mashiach means the anointed one. In other words, if you poured the oil on the head, King David was the Messiah.
Right.
The high priests were the Messiah. So anyone who gets the oil, I go to churches, always putting oil on your forehead and praying over you. If you have the oil on your forehead, you're the Messiah. Because Messiah in Hebrew means the person who has had the olive oil poured on him.
And there can be more than one.
Yes.
So.
And so Cyrus did something remarkable. 70 years after the destruction of the first temple in 586, he sends the Jews home as a blessing.
Yes.
And he sends his army to escort them. And he sends gold and silver, everything they need to rebuild the city of Jerusalem and to rebuild the temple, which then becomes the second temple.
Right.
So I think that what President Trump did, contrary to all the backpedaling of previous presidents, is a very remarkable thing. And
and you're noting this fact that it's 70 years since the founding or refounding of Israel,
of the state of Israel,
and Cyrus being 70 years after the exile.
Right, and basically, I know that American presidents have to kowtow to economics. And of course, my famous testimony about the Dallas Council on World Affairs, that what made America great is the barrel of oil. And if you say that, then you're never going to recognize Jerusalem, because then you're going against the oil and the capital and the globalists.
Right.
So when Trump recognized Jerusalem, this indeed was a very special event, and I consider him like a Messiah, like Cyrus.
It is interesting. If you think about the 70 years, I had not really thought of that before.
70 years.
70, did I say it wrong? 70 years for Cyrus. If you think about that, it isn't that the Jewish people are in exile. It's certainly, half of the world's Jews are in Israel now. But in a way, it's almost like it's America that's coming out of exile in terms of our recognition of God's work here in Israel. If we're finally recognizing the capital officially, it's almost like it's taking us out of exile to recognize the reality of God's work. So I don't know if you ever thought of it that way.
Well, what I do think is, how do we make America great again? And if you want to make America great again, you have to bring God's blessings on America.
Right.
To bring God's blessings on America, America has to bless Israel.
Right.
And I think that President Trump has done the right thing. I don't want to time this interview, but we're talking about early January, and yesterday Dow Jones surpassed 25,000, which is another milestone.
Yes,
now, Wall Street goes up and down. All these stock markets, they're glorified Las Vegas in many ways. But there has been a steady improvement in the American economy since President Trump became president. And nobody is giving him any of the credit. And I think that's extremely unfair. But I do think that America will be seeing a lot more blessings under President Trump. I think America may be challenged by terrorism. Mm-hmm. There are people who are not happy with America. We are also talking, I think maybe we may do a separate show about Iran. But the Iranians have their sleeper cells in America. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of hostile groups that are already in the United States waiting for marching orders.
I want to give a quick call out to the second country to agree recently to move their embassy to Jerusalem, Guatemala, which they followed in the footsteps of Trump. I think you're not saying that the United States recognition is anything more than recognition, right? God's decision has been made. Do I hear this right? That if the United States comes into alignment with God's recognition of Jerusalem, then there must be blessing to follow from that.
Very correct. Very correct.
Yeah.
I don't want to give maybe secondary, mundane examples, but there are certain countries in the Pacific
Yes.
Island countries.
Yes. Yes. I
Yes.
was going to ask you about that. Please take.
And there's a country. The Muslims laugh at these little island countries, and they even say we have more Arabs, more Palestinians in the street in Gaza than the whole population of these islands. But there's an island state called Nauru, N-A-U-R-U.
Yes. Yeah, they were one.
And,
Yes.
and Israel is building for them a very important plant, for recycling water and sewage but these little islands, they're in the middle of an ocean, but water everywhere, not a drop to drink. And so what Israel is doing is such a blessing for Nauru that Nauru voted in favor of Israel. Guatemala is an historic ally of Israel. By the way, just a little story. In 1971, just before I went into the Israeli army for my compulsory service, I worked for 6 months as a press attaché at the Guatemala embassy.
Really?
Because Spanish is my mother tongue. And so I helped the ambassador at that time to understand what was going on in the Israeli press. And so I translated from Hebrew into Spanish.
Yes. Yes.
That was an interesting experience. And the Guatemala embassy actually is on Balfour Street, right across the street from where Netanyahu lives today as prime minister, or any prime minister who lives there. So I have my family's from Argentina, so I have a very special love for all Hispanic countries and all Hispanic people.
Well, when we come back, I want to continue to ask you something about the island nations from a biblical perspective, and I want to zero in on a few aspects of this Trump declaration. So will you hang on? And hope you'll stay with us, and we'll be back at the next segment. But until then, shalom.